All right. Woo, look at that sun. Wow. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Uh, show you guys something here. My little setup here. See, you can see my truck. Not going to show any license plate, but you can see my truck here. My little truck. I got all this water back here. Yeah, water. I was probably going to order from Amazon maybe 4 more jugs. I'll have about 80 gallons of water. I'll be out in the desert. I could be out in this desert for, a long time. I got a bunch of survival stuff. I got more back home in North Dakota, my uncles, but I got a lot of food. I can grow microgreens and sprouts and just cook with. I got probably about 10 buckets of microgreens and sprouts and lentils and things like that. When I had an apartment and I could grow my own food, and a lot of times I did. I went vegan for like 2 years, just vegan food, and I would grow and I would juice, I juice a lot. And I used to be a fruitarian for a couple of years there too, and I would just like, man, when I grew my own food, I'd save so much money. I never had to go to a grocery store and buy any that garbage food, that was there, all that processed food. And I noticed like when I would eat that way, I would be in better health, and I used to juice a lot too. And like I said, I was a fruitarian for 2 years, and I felt like that was the perfect diet. Like there's just something about that food that's just so clean. When you eat the cucumber and the watermelon and the oranges and things like that, you wouldn't even have to drink water. It would just hydrate your body. But that's another subject for a different day. But I just wanted to kind of show you my truck and how my setup is here. And I just got my truck and I got all my survival gear. I got winter gear, summer gear, got a bunch of stuff. And what was I gonna say? I got some scripture here. Oh no. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I want to talk about America. Babylon or America. I got some scripture here. Let's see. Revelations 14:8. And there followed another angel saying, Babel is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Um, I think a lot of people misinterpret this. This scripture here, it's, how Jesus spoke in parables, and then you get to Revelation, it's like, wow, that's basically what it is. It's a revelation from God. Um, but drinking of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. It's not just sleeping around. It's whatever America's involved in, all this corruption, of greed and going over to other countries and I mean, who does America think it is, to go to another country and we got enough of our own resources here. We got our own oil. We can dig for oil, and why do we got to go to another country and bomb and kill all these people, and when we got our own stuff here, I think a lot of it is just all about control and greed and a lot of other things. But then I got Revelations 18:4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. And boy, this to me, this spoke a lot to me, you know, like when I was going to that fake church, it's like, if you keep on going to this church, God's going to punish you, so you better stay out of there. Kind of same thing with America, you know, being partakers of that, you know. You know, everything the world does, you know, they nowadays they call evil good and good evil, and just, you know, being drunk and having sex outside of marriage and listening to all this rap music, this rap. I know I was guilty of it when I was a part of the world. I was guilty of listening to all that garbage music too, the heavy metal, the rap, and even some of that country music can be bad too. You know, a lot of it is bad because a lot of it's of this world. You know, nothing represents Christ when you know, even though they're not cussing in there, they're still talking about the world. They're talking about females. They're talking about men in there. They're talking about alcohol and different things like that in that country music. You know, it might sound like it's innocent, but if it doesn't represent Jesus, I wouldn't even listen to it. So Revelations 18:2, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babel the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And I guess that's the way it goes, you know, with Babel, America the great, you know, make, like Trump said, make America great again. You can almost say make Babylon great again, you know. And then it says, Revelation 17:5, this is the last scripture here. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babel the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And America's headed in that direction. Be one of the first or one of the last nations to lead everybody to their death, you know, the image of the beast, the mark of the beast. Boy, I tell you, I used to think the world of America, but I don't want to get too much into depth with that because there's a lot of controversy behind it. But I know when the Native Americans were here before, you know, Christopher Columbus and all these other people, before all this took place, America was like the bomb, you know, this like best place on planet Earth. And so many times we've been lied to, you know. I just often wonder, you know. I know a lot of people say, you know, kind of what trips me up is, I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but because I believe it's not, to me, it's not about, at the end of the day, we all bleed the same color of red, you know. It's not about skin color. It's not about culture. It's usually a demon attached to that person, especially if they don't want nothing to do with God and they're kind of just living their own way and they don't have their head on their shoulders, you know. They're not thinking right. And I would just say this: when the natives were here, they were in tune. I'm not trying to make this sound like it's a new age thing either, but they were a very peaceful people, you know. They were connected to the earth, and then when the white man came here, they destroyed everything. And that's why America is what it is right now, because of that. Those people, they should have stayed in their own country instead of coming over here and killing all the natives and putting them on like a little reservation, what what they call a concentration camp, and then they would have to rely on the system too, And now a lot of these natives, they have to conform to the rest of the world like everybody else does. They have to rely on the system. They can't have their own gardens and grow their own food and I don't know, man. I'm just kind of in a daze right now because it's just so peaceful out here. But if you guys like this video, give me a thumbs up. More than welcome to comment down below, and we'll see you on the next video. Yeah.